it's your girl Lazy131E, and today we will be talking about something very sensitive to me, something probably very sensitive to a lot of people. Today we're going to be talking about anxiety and depression. Basically, I'm just going to be telling you guys my experience with it and how I got through it. And also like just a few things on how to, a few pointers on how to get through it if you are going through it currently, or if you were going through it and it's still affecting you. Pretty much this video is probably going to be long. I'm gonna try to get to some points, but I do have some talking points, but you never know, I'm probably just gonna go off and just start talking. But so pretty much, for those of you guys who don't know what anxiety and depression are, they're both mental illnesses. They both can cause you to feel sad, very nervous, not wanting to be around anybody. Sometimes people say they can tell when some people are depressed, but sometimes you won't even be able to tell if someone's depressed. And anxiety is really hard to point out in people, because sometimes you wouldn't expect people to have anxiety. I was always loud, and I was always I had a bigger group of friends in junior high than I did in high school, and I was always loud. I was always funny, and I did cheer, and I did volleyball, I did basketball, and so people probably won't even know I had anxiety until this video comes out. But yes, I did suffer from anxiety starting in 8th grade. Still suffer with it, not as bad, but definitely I still do suffer with it. Depression, I suffer with it 8th grade all the way probably until sophomore year of high school. I'm going to talk about my anxiety first. It started in 8th grade, and I realized that I just didn't really want to be around people. And it wasn't that I didn't want to, it's I couldn't, because for some reason I felt this need to always be perfect. I was always funny, so I always felt the need to be funny every day, and I think that's when my behavior problems started coming in 8th grade, because I was always a good kid, but in 8th grade I did have some issues. I finished 8th grade and I was able to go to high school, but I didn't finish out the year in the school. That was because of a situation I'll get to later, but my behavior had led up to that point when I couldn't go back to school. And in my high school, we had this thing called the TR room, where you could sit and you could focus, and there wasn't a lot of people in there, but it wasn't a real classroom just for you to focus. They had it for special ed kids, of course, but for people who just had behavior problems, or who had really bad anxiety, they weren't just a quiet classroom for you to sit and focus and do your work, which wasn't a problem for me, because when I did go to school, I was focusing and doing my work. That wasn't the problem. The problem was getting around a group of people and feeling I had to kind of show out, had to portray, because that's who I was every day, or my friend group was loud, so I felt I had to be loud, or I had a close friend who was loud. So I was okay, I'm gonna be loud too, because that's what gets attention. But going back home, I was quiet, and I was kind of to myself, dang, I don't really want to, the day before some stuff happened, I was I just think I'm gonna try to be by myself and see how that works, see how it works for me, just being by myself. So I went into school the next day, I still talked to them, I was hey, good morning, I still talk, but I wasn't goofy Juliet, how everyone knows me. Still talked. We all, had similar classes together. For sure, we had one class together, all of us together, and it was an elective. But before that, it was lunch. So at lunch, I didn't sit with them. That erupted a whole thing of drama. I think that point in school, that really triggered my anxiety, because I didn't realize I was coming off just pushing people away, because I was anxious. I didn't know what to do, but I just decided to sit by myself. I can probably assume that we were young, so I mean, looking at it now, if this would happen in high school, we probably all would have had different reactions. But in junior high, when you're childish and immature, it comes off as, why you don't want to sit by me? You don't want to sit by me? Oh, you being weird, you're being fake. That's what it comes off as, because everyone's still children in junior high. So that's pretty much when all my anxiety started, because I didn't lose the whole group of friends. I still had one of my closest friends, one of my best friends. But pretty much that went into a fight, and pretty much I had to leave school. We all got suspended. I had to leave school. Came back, tried to work it out with them. They didn't want to work it out. That made me feel like absolute crap because I was like, I don't have any friends besides you guys. Like, definitely put me in a position where I felt like, I think that's when my trust issues with friends kind of started too, because I was just like, is this how people react when you just having a day and you just want to be by yourself? Because if so, I'll just always be by myself. But pretty much they didn't want to be my friends anymore. That caused really bad anxiety. I didn't realize. That's also, I can also say that's when a little bit of my depression started too, losing friends, because especially because this was 8th grade. I knew 3 of the girls since junior high, and then I met one in 6th grade, and we all kind of mended together because we were all like in the same class, in the same area, so we all kind of mended together. Deep down, I was kind of hurt because you become friends with someone for, I can really almost say 5+ years, and then when something stupid happens, the friendship ends. And it was sad for me. I was a kid at the time, so I didn't know like how to handle it. I didn't want to tell my mom, because my mom was always like, tell a teacher if they're messing with you, but I didn't want to seem like a snitch. Like, no kid in junior high wants to seem like a snitch. They don't want to go to the principal or the teacher. But I think our teacher started noticing it, and that's when, before the fight even happened, our teacher started noticing how our group was like kind of like separating. They were like, what's going on? Like, why are you guys acting like this? And we always be like, oh, it's nothing, you know, we try to play it off, but because nobody, and when teachers start getting involved, it definitely blows up the situation. So I was just I wasn't even in the middle. It seemed like I was the problem, because everyone kept saying the start of the problem was Jalea not talking to us, Jalea wanting to sit by herself. There was one friend that was like, she just don't want to sit with us, and that's okay. Which I think that's because she would have her days too, and she just didn't want to be bothered. But for me, it wasn't even that I didn't want to be bothered. It was just I was trying to figure out how I could go through the rest of the school year without having to be loud and be in a group. And I just wanted to see how I could be independent, because in high school, I already knew, because I have older siblings, they would say like they started losing friends in high school because people have different classes. You're not going to be able to see them every day unless you play a sport with them, or unless you guys choose to hang out after school. So in my mind, I was trying to figure out, okay, you're acting like this in 8th grade. You're not even going to have these friends in high school unless you guys choose to stay together in high school. So in my mind, it wasn't that I didn't want to be bothered. I was just trying to figure out how I can finding my, independency, is that a word? I think so. Finding my independency. They took it as I didn't want to be their friend. That was not the issue. When drama started getting bigger, then that's when I made up my mind, okay, now I really don't want to be you guys' friends, and now you guys are just doing too much. But then I got anxiety of being by myself in school, so then I had to double back and kind of do damage control and be like, wait, I think I do need you guys as my friends, because like I'm not gonna have nobody. But at the end of 8th grade, after the fight, after I had kind of started losing friends, I did still have one person. I mean, we're still kind of cool, but we did shift after high school, and it happens. If you're in high school now and you have friends, you guys are gonna start shifting, and it's up to you to figure out if you guys are gonna let each other go or stay together. And it's okay to let people go. It's not a bad thing. It was so sad. Like, did not want to go to school. Did not want to. I was still in cheer. Didn't want to tap to cheer. Didn't didn't want to have to go to do games. Like, who's depressed and wants to go cheer at a loud basketball game? Like, it's draining. Like, I had to put on a fake smile, and I was goofy and cheer, but that was like, none of my friends cheered with me, so that was a whole group of people. And so I was like, okay, this is kind of like a restart. Maybe I can make new friends, which I did, friends. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. The coaches were really supportive. I had a really good good relationship with all of my coaches in junior high and in high school. And I would always talk to them about my situation, and have any of those toxic friends in any of my toxic friends in the cheer environment. So I was able to be myself, and I was able to be, okay, this kind of reset. But that did cause anxiety for me still, because I was like, now I have to make friends with more people, more girls, if anything. I was like, oh, it's another group of girls. Cheer definitely, it forced me to kind of get out of a shell, because I had to meet, in cheer, you have to talk to people. If you are a shy person, cheer is not going to work for you. It may for a little bit, but after a while, you're going to realize, oh, I kind of have to start talking to these people. I had to talk to them. I had to communicate with them. I had to talk with them outside of practice. When we did team bonding, they kind of forced us to open up and, say if something was wrong, confront a problem. And I think that really helped me come out of my comfort zone. It was something within me that wasn't right. And again, in elementary school, it was the friend group. It was the wanting to portray something I wasn't. It was the insecurities. They were deflecting it on other people. And in 8th grade, I did the same thing, because that fight, the way I could have walked away, if I would have just walked away and not tried to be like, oh, I'm not a punk, I'm not a punk, I'm not finna walk away, because in my head, that's what was going on. As they were approaching me, like, they think I'm finna walk away and I'm finna go sit in the principal's office, I'm not a punk. But it's not being a punk to walk away. It's really protecting yourself and your energy, because after that fight, everything I started spiraling, and it was ridiculous. Like, it was so much going on that we could have prevented by just walking away. And I feel like if I would have walked away just that one day, my anxiety and depression, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. Now let's get into high school. Freshman year, I feel like all freshmen have anxiety going into high school. They're anxious. They don't know what's going to go on. For me, it was because I had went a whole summer being depressed, being suicidal at one point, self-harming. It was a lot going on up until freshman year for me. So when I walked into school and I didn't have friends, well, I had a friend, but we didn't even have similar classes. So I already knew that was going to be hard maintaining. And I was like, okay, this is, not what I really wanted for high school. I really imagined all of us still being friends. I was so used to having a friend group for so long, and all of them still had friends, and all of them still, had people to hang out with, or siblings. I had one of my sisters there when I got there, so it wasn't that bad. But still, like, you kind of want someone your own age and someone just for yourself. I definitely struggled freshman year being when I was late, having to walk into class. I couldn't walk into class. That's when I knew it was a really big problem. Wouldn't walk into class because when you're late to school and you have to walk into class, everyone kind of looks at you. I hated that. Like, I was like, no, I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm not gonna deal with that. So I would go sit in the hallway until like the next class, and that caused me to miss my first period or second period, I think, which was math. And that's when that started making me get really behind. And I think I felt that year math too, my freshman year math. I think I failed my freshman year math because I couldn't go. Like, if I was late, and I was like almost late every day, almost every day, I couldn't go in. I would literally like look through the door to see if they were like watching the video or doing work. If they were doing their own work, I could walk in. But if he was up there talking and stuff, I wasn't walking in because I used to like have an anxiety attack right there at the door, and I would be like, no, like I would go sit in the hallway or literally literally walk out the entire school and just walk back home because I live so close to the school. I was like, I'm literally just gonna go back home. And when I went back home, my mom would always be like, why are you back home? What happened? Like, she always thought something happened. I would just be like, oh, I don't feel good. Like, lying, how kids do when they don't want to go to school. I don't feel good, or I'm gonna just, we don't have that much work. I'm just gonna go tomorrow. Like, that's the stuff I would say. And then my mom took me to the doctors because I think she started realizing something was wrong, because my mom struggles with anxiety as well. So I think she realized something was wrong. And she realized something was wrong. We went to the doctors, and I got put on medication for anxiety. My review on medication for anxiety is it does help. It helped me. I'm not going to speak for everyone because I know some people that didn't like it. It helps me. It did make me very sleepy all the time because I think my body wasn't used to it. So, because I stopped literally taking it after the year, because it did help a little bit and I felt like I didn't need it. But then I started realizing that anxiety is a mental thing. It's very, that's why they call it a mental illness. It's a mental thing. If you can say to yourself, this pill isn't helping, I need to find an alternative. This medicine isn't helping, I need to find an alternative. And you find that alternative, and day by day, I didn't just cold turkey get off the pills. I just would skip a day here, skip a day there, and not take it on the weekends just to see. I realized that there's other stuff I can do to help with my anxiety. I write now. I focus on my relationship with God now. I quarantine, being in the house with my family, spending time. My pets help me with anxiety. I had a pet hamster. That was my best friend before it died. I was sad when it died, like almost wanted to cry, but I was like, no, I ain't finna cry with no hamster. But still, just stuff like that, something that you could call your own, will definitely help you. And yeah, writing, music. I can't really draw, but painting. My sister loves art. Painting recently has helped me. But even just mixing colors and just putting it on a canvas helps me personally. Going to church, like I said, talking to my parents. That's important too. Finding a support system. Finding a support system is very important because you're going to need help. You cannot get through anxiety or depression by yourself. Yes, I had a therapist, and I also had my pastor I could talk to, and I talked to my mom sometimes, but I didn't really get in deep conversations with my mom. But I had my coach, my cheer coach I could talk to, my pastor, my therapist. Talking to people helps because you can get advice, or you can just tell someone to be a listening ear. You can say, hey, I don't really want advice today. I just kind of need someone to listen. And if they're really a supporter of you and you wanting to get better, they'll just be like, okay, I'm just here to listen. Let me know if you do want advice. But you won't be able to get through it alone. You're going to need some help. It's going to take time. And you're going to have to tell people like, hey, if they will invite you somewhere, hey, I don't really feel like going out, my anxiety, I can't be around all those people today. You'll have to say that. Yes, you might lose friends. Yes, people might not want to invite you. Yes, people might not like you. Yes, people might talk about you, but at the end of the day, your health is what matters. And people who love you will understand that. And that's something I had to understand. Because the important thing is, when you do get better and you are happier, when you love yourself, others will love you. That's just how I'm going to put it. When you love yourself, others will love you. Luckily, my anxiety isn't as bad as it is anymore, but I still don't really want to deal out with a lot of people if I don't know them like that, or I have anxiety. Like, I don't want to sit and talk to people I don't know. I'm going to grab my mom because she wants to say some stuff too, because as I said, my mom struggles with anxiety and depression as well. So I'm going to go grab her and we're going to have a little chat and we're going to close this video out. Alright everybody, this is my mom, Tanisha, and she's going to be telling you guys about her experience with anxiety and depression. She's a little nervous, so don't mind her, but okay, go ahead, mommy.
Hi, as Jalea said, I'm going to talk to you about anxiety and depression. I have anxiety. Uh, I believe that it helps, but I also believe in God and prayer. Because without prayer, I don't think I've been made it as far as I've made it. When I first got diagnosed with anxiety, I can't remember exactly when and what day it was, but it's been some years. And my family didn't understand it because I didn't understand what I was going through. I just knew I was going through some changes and everything, and something wasn't right with me. Because I was fidgety and shaky all the time, nervous. I speech was slurring a lot. My speech was slurring because I have epilepsy, and that was causing my anxiety was causing my seizures to come on. I'm doing much better now. I can articulate myself better. I can stand up for myself more now because I was a pushover. I would let people just push
Walk all
over,
over
walk all
her.
over me, do anything they want to do, and I'm okay with it, no problem. When I got depressed was when I started losing all my loved ones. It was like everybody was dying on me, getting sick. Um, I think my major thing was when I found out about my mother-in-law, um, when she was diagnosed with cancer. And I think talking to her, she was the one to help me realize that there was something really seriously wrong and that I needed to get some help. She was a strong woman. Uh, I never understood why she was so reserved sometimes, but now I see why. I have my husband, he was supportive. My mom, my dad, Barbara, my children, my brother, Richard, my sister Shonda, although she was in Vegas, she was very supportive. She
Yeah.
would call me every day. You take your medicine? How you doing? Need somebody to talk to? Need somebody to vent to? Um, so I have a very supportive system. My pastor, Joseph Jarvis, and his wife, Mona, uh, and a
That's
couple
my pastor too, who I was talking about earlier.
and a couple of other people. I don't want to miss anybody. Jamie Ballard. Um, I had a real strong support system, and Roxy Davis, because she was in the field of mental illness, and she was basically telling me what I needed to do and who I needed to talk to get things done that needed to be done as far as my medication wise and as far as counseling and all the other things. So I had a lot of support through it, and that's what helped me come through it. I still battle with anxiety a little bit every day or every other day, but I don't battle with depression like I used to. Um, I do write in my journal. Every day I write in my journal. Uh, I also read my In Touch. It's a booklet that I've been reading now for about 2 years. It's a monthly booklet. They send you a monthly booklet, and it's about scripture and God and everything in the world today. I don't watch the news because that
I
depresses
don't
me.
either. I don't watch the news either.
The news makes me cry, so I
Yeah.
don't watch the news. Basically, read books, go to the library, talk to my counselor, meet with my groups, and I eat ice cream. Makes me happy. Junk food, not a lot of it, but a majority of it makes me happy. Doing affirmations. I used to do them 2 years ago when I first met Julie Brown. I'm now learning to cope with being dependent on other people because when COVID came, they shut down the group that I go to and we couldn't see each other for a while, but we could talk to each other on the phone. I just want to let you know that if you see your child is alone, distance, down and out, depressed, not eating or eating too much, junk food, or just getting up eating at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, big plates of food, and just been finished eating, that's the sign of depression.
Yeah, it is.
That's a very big sign of depression. So, parents, watch out.
Be aware.
Be aware of the signs.
Because some kids will tell you, but most kids
Most of them won't.
Yeah, they won't be like, this
Because,
is what's going on.
yeah, it took me time to actually accept that something was wrong. And it really took me time to actually accept that my kids said it too. Thank you all for listening. And
Thank you for coming, Mom.
you're
Coming
welcome.
out your room.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you'll see her in another one of my videos this month. Her and my dad will be in another one of my videos. You got anything else to say, Mom?
No, God bless you and have a good day.
Alright, you guys, I'm going to close out this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And just, when you have peace, you have everything. Ain't that right, Mom? When you have peace, you have everything.
Peace of mind.
Protect your peace and protect your happiness. And have a great rest of your day. I love you guys. Bye.
1 me, 2 goons, 3D, 4-door, 5-6 type Chinese, skip 7. How he ate it, made 9 scream, 10 shots.